Cody versus Nick Aldis, NWA 70th Anniversary Preview. Welcome back to the ACB Wrestling Talk channel, your main source for wrestling news, topics, discussion, previews, all that kind of good stuff. I am your host, Alexis, and this Sunday, October 21st, the National Wrestling Alliance has its 70th anniversary show, meaning they will officially be, I don't recall the actual date that the NWA was founded in, but, you know, it's all semantics. They'll be 70 years old. And for a company, for a name, for a brand like the NWA that was pretty much forgotten ever since 2007, since the NWA World Title left back then TNA Wrestling, this past year, since Billy Corgan purchased the brand and the rights to the NWA, has been outstanding. They've elevated NWA back into the wrestling mainstream. Notice how I didn't say mainstream altogether, because they're two very different contexts to think about. But as far as wrestling fans, as far as the wrestling fan base and the IWC, they are now aware that the NWA exists and is building up to be a force in the current wrestling industry. They have October 21st, Nashville, Tennessee, and the big main event, Cody defends his NWA World Heavyweight Championship against the former title holder, Nick Aldis, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I like the concept of the 2 out of 3 falls match. What I don't like about the actual match is that every single time any company books a 2 out of 3 falls match, you will most likely get a pretty early fall in the match, or you will get 2 falls, you know, like consecutively, like right there next to each other in that match, which I think is just, at least to me, illogical, because that really doesn't happen in regular matches. But hey, what do I always say? You know, these companies, they always use their own logic to promote their own shows, to service their own shows, to service the story that they're trying to tell. So they're going to do what they're going to have to do to tell the story that they want to tell. That's fine. Who I think wins this? I think it's too soon. I think it's too soon to take the title off of Cody. I mean, he just won it on September 1st. All in, 11,000 plus fans. Big stage, big moment. It's been a month and a half since he won that title. I think it's too soon to take the title off of Cody. And hopefully, if I'm running the NWA right now, if I'm Billy Corgan right now, I want, and I think Cody has a better chance of actually being asked by the New Japan Pro Wrestling management to defend the title at the big stage that is Wrestle Kingdom than a Nick Aldis, with all due respect. I think that's what I believe. So I think Cody gets the title, he gets to keep it. And as far as new challengers that they're building up towards, not a lot. Like I said, NWA doesn't have a predetermined roster. It's usually just bringing in guys, big names, small names, any kind of guy to challenge for the titles, or to be a part of an NWA match, or to be a part of the 10 Pounds of Gold documentary series that is just amazing that they do on the NWA channel. Make sure you check those out. You know, if you're not, you're missing out on something special. But all in all, Cody gets the win. He retains his title. That's fine. Talking about, you know, guys that they're trying to build up via the NWA 10 Pounds of Gold documentary series. You got producer Peter Avalon, and he faces off against Tim Storm now in the few episodes that we have seen of 10 Pounds of Gold. The producer, Peter Avalon, has gotten the best of Tim Storm quite a few times now, I believe. So, you know, wrestling logic would state that Tim Storm, former NWA World Champion, would get the win here. That Avalon will get his comeuppance. I, however, Don't believe that. I think Avalon is going to get the win here because they have to build up these young guys to possible championship contenders. And there's a lot more future in Peter Avalon than there is in Tim Storm, again, with all due respect. Then we've got the mini tournament that they're going to have for the NWA National Championship. We have not seen the design of the title. I am very curious to see it, because it's a brand new title. You know, when you're building up towards unveiling of title designs, that's always exciting. You just want to see how good or not good it could look. But as far as the matches, we've got one very good four-way match, extremely good four-way match, first round match, and then we've got a second four-way match that is not so good. Let's start with the really good. We've got Colt Cabana, former NWA World Champion, versus Sammy Guevara, versus Scorpio Sky, versus the man formerly known as the Creepy Bastard in TNA Wrestling, Samuel Shaw. Now, I've seen all four of these men wrestle, some more than others. For example, Guevara, I only saw him, I think, once or twice last year in the Super X Cup tournament on Impact, so I can't really give my opinion too deep on him. Colt Cabana, the last time I saw him wrestle was in his NWA World Title match against Nick Aldis in China. He wasn't bad in that either. We've got Scorpio Sky, a part of SoCal Uncensored. He's a tag team wrestler, and you got the man that I think is going to win this match, and I hope he wins, because I've been a fan of his ever since he was that Creepy Bastard, and I'm talking about Samuel Shaw. So on that four-way match, I know I'm being biased, I know I'm playing favorite. I want Samuel Shaw to win, and I believe Samuel Shaw will win. On the other side, the other four-way match, we've got a man who recently challenged for the NWA World Title and was also a part of Impact's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. We've got Willie Mack himself. Extremely happy about this guy being a part of this pay-per-view, being a part of more shows, because as far as I remember, he was pretty much obscure with just being in Lucha Underground. Now he gets to participate in Ring of Honor, in the NWA, in Impact Wrestling, and I am hyped for this guy. We've got Willie Mack versus Jay Bradley. Jay Bradley, you may remember him by his name from TNA Wrestling. He won, I think, what was it? The first Gut Check Challenge in 2012 at Slammiversary. I think he did. But then he turned into Aiden O'Shea when Billy Corgan was running Impact, and so on and so on. He was released. Now he's Jay Bradley. I see a little bit of potential in him. Yes, I do. We got a guy by the name of Mike Parrow. Don't know who that is, so can't comment on him. And we've got Ricky Starks. Again, don't know who that is. So, as far as independent wrestling, I am pretty much in the dark. I've said this in the past. I'm not ashamed of it. I am more of a watching wrestling shows that are, companies and mainstream base. I have nothing against the independent shows. That's just, what I do. That's just my decision. You might have a different one. That's all good and fine. We're all different people. As far as who do I think wins, as Jay Bradley is a pretty interesting option, being that he is Billy Corgan's right-hand wrestler man. But I think Willie Mack gets it. I think Willie Mack needs to win this match. There's a reason why they put him against Cody for the NWA World Title. I think he wins it. Now, as far as who wins the NWA National Title, I think it's a coin toss. You have, if my predictions are to be correct, you have Willie Mack or Sam Shaw. Again, I would love to have Sam Shaw win the title, but Willie Mack is hard to root against for. But so I'm gonna take a bye here. I don't know which one of these two men is gonna come out with the NWA National Title, and it's also easy for me to take a bye because, like I said, these matches will be determined on the NWA 70th show. So you just don't know which one of these 8 men will actually come out with the national title. And we've got a very interesting NWA Women's Championship match. We got Jazz defending her title against Penelope Ford. again, being honest with you, haven't seen either of these two women wrestle. So, I'm just going to pick one, and I'm going to go with the younger blood. I'm going to go with putting the NWA Women's title on the map. Not that Jazz is not on that caliber, but again, before this whole NWA 70 show, you know, Jazz and the NWA Women's title was kind of in the back burner. You didn't know, I didn't even know they still had these titles, so I'm going to go with Penelope Ford. And then we've got a couple of other matches. We've got Barrett Brown versus Laredo Kid. Haven't seen Barrett Brown wrestle. Again, I apologize if this is offending you. I just, you know, I decided to put my time in watching WWE, Impact, NXT, and all those kinds of promotions, and not so much on independent promotions. I've seen Laredo Kid wrestle again on Impact. I liked him. I'm going with Laredo Kid. And finally, we got the team of Crimson and Jax Dane, former tag team in Impact, versus the Kingdom of Jocephus. Now, if you've been watching the NWA YouTube channel, it appears that it's going to be an intergender tag team match, meaning it's going to be Crimson and Jax Dane versus Jocephus' spiritual advisor, who is a woman, tagging with another woman who I don't quite remember her name, and again, I apologize for this. I'm sorry, I don't recall her name. As far as who do I think wins, I don't know. It's very uncomfortable for me to see man versus woman, especially when you have two women on one side of the equation facing off against two big men like Jax Dane and Crimson, because it appears that that's what they're gonna do. You know, for all we know, it could all be a trick, it could all be a trap, and you have Jocephus bringing in a mystery tag team partner to tag with him, and we could have that match. So again, gotta take a bye here. Don't know what's gonna go on. It's gonna be very interesting what they do if it is a men's tag team versus a women's tag team. That's gonna be interesting as hell. So, all in all, the NWA 70 show building up to be a statement from the NWA, a statement from Billy Corgan, telling the wrestling world, hey, we are here, we are a part of the wrestling industry, and we are here to play with the big boys. So, and I hope that is indeed the case. I hope they put on a great show, and I hope that they do sell out the venue, and again, using this word again, but I hope that they have sold out a lot of pay-per-view buys on the Fight TV app. So, rooting for this NWA 70th anniversary show to be a success. I think all wrestling fans should. But, you know what I say. That's just my opinion. You may have a different one. My opinion is not more valid than yours. That's just a fact of the matter. So, I'm just going to leave it at that. As far as your thoughts, comments, and predictions on this show, on what I said, leave it on the comment section below. Disagree with me. Go ahead. You know, I love a good wrestling discussion. Put it on the comment section below. If you follow wrestling news, topics, discussion, previews, all that kind of good stuff, consider subscribing. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. That's it for me. Till next time.